Football's so close I can almost smell it. We got football just about 2 weeks away. Scrimmage coming up this Saturday, and so the two deep's going to be solidified here pretty soon. So here's my projections for who you're going to see playing on Saturday at Kyle Field. All right, so before we look at that two deep, I just want to say like and subscribe, comment and share. And previously it was commented by Jeb Newhouse. Shout out to you. You wanted to see a little bit of a breakdown of the two deep. So this is for you. I thought about it. I was like, let's do it. Let's get this. Let's give the people what they want. So enjoy. Watch some highlights of fall practice while we talk, and let's see who's going to be playing on Saturday. All right, so let's start off with the two deep. On the offensive side of things, while you watch some fall camp video, I think that most of these are locks except for a couple of splash picks. Isaiah Spiller to me is the running back number one. I don't think that's controversial, and I think by default that then makes the chain second string. But you're going to see a chain play a lot, right? He's going to pick up right where Spiller leaves off. He's not really a change of pace kind of guy in my opinion. He's kind of a 1A and 1B. Then you've got Kenyon Green, either right tackle or left tackle, and I'll explain my pick on that in just a second. But then you have Jalen Weidemeyer, hands down tight end number one at this point. I don't think that's controversial either. Aniyah Smith, same thing. Now you might be a little surprised to see Hezekiah Jones, but he's a senior. A lot of experience, someone that they're looking to for leadership. I definitely think we're going to see him at least starting games. Now, there's going to be, of course, a lot of transition in this wide receiver group. Chase Lane, large player last year. Great guy at the podium as well. This guy means business. I like to refer to him as Mr. Professional. You're going to see him a lot too. Get back to the offensive line here. Kenyon Green, hands down, is going to be a starter, right? And I've covered this in the other videos where we're not exactly replacing 4 linemen. Yes, technically by the letter of the law, we're replacing 4, but I think we've got some people we can, count on. Like for instance, Layden Robinson. I talked about how Cole Kubulek talked about this guy being named War Daddy. I mean, he's got a lot of playing time already. Sure, he wasn't a starter last year, but he's going to fit right in there just like he was. And then Jameer Johnson. This is kind of that splash pick maybe we didn't quite see coming. He started for Tennessee last year. I've put some film on him in the last video I made. This guy's got a bit of I wouldn't even say a mean streak. He plays tough. A lot of effort from that guy. You're going to see him, in my opinion. I think he's kind of a lock, but that's also sort of that splash pick. And then perhaps Luke Matthews, at center. I think he's been a little banged up, but I think we're going to see him start on day one. If I'm going to hedge my bet, I think Smart Chibuzo could be somebody that steps in right there. I've heard some good things about him as well. But for left guard, what I'm picking is Blake Traynor, about a 6'6", 330-pound dude, going to be dump trunking people. I think he's going to be the yin to Layden Robinson's yang on the offensive line, and we're going to be blowing some people off the line this year. These are some big guys, so look for these to happen, and I kind of want to hedge my bet on some of these, right? But we'll get to more of the offensive line here in just a minute. All right, so let's take a look at QB for a second. There's my picks right here for first and second string. I guess this is a splash pick, sort of, but I don't think there's really anybody out there that doesn't quite expect Haynes King to be first string at this point. I covered him in the spring game, the difference between him and Zach Calzada in large part, especially in the first half. And you've got a fairly reasonably different completion ratio that you're seeing from the guys. The way the offense moves with Haynes King in there versus Zach. And then the intangible that Haynes is going to bring, of course, is the mobility, the lateral mobility that he can use and extend plays. It's just going to be real difficult to pick Zach over him at this point. It's a possibility, but I'm going to have to go with King at this point. I don't see any reason why not to. The two deep for the offensive line. This is where it starts getting a little interesting, right? Because anytime any one of these starters goes down, you got somebody that's got a plug and play, and you're gonna see these guys either way, whether or not somebody goes down or not. So, who's it gonna be? My picks are essentially these, based off of what I've heard. So I talked about Smart earlier. I think he's interchangeable with Luke. I think Luke's probably got the upper hand, provided his injury works out. But Smart's big guy, very smart, going to be able to do the job really well. I've heard really good things about Aki. Jimbo has talked about the athleticism of this guy and it being something that, like, he's never really seen out of such a big guy before. So um, he's going to be in there for sure, in my opinion. I think left tackle is the most likely spot. So we'll see, but I definitely have him in my two deep, along with Derek Hunter and Grayson Reed, who's a senior this year. And then I've got Ruben Fothery, who's a freshman coming in out of this 2021 class. And I picked him over Bryce Foster at this point. Not that he's necessarily better than Bryce, but Ruben came in the spring. So he's been here a whole semester so far. He's got a lot more under his belt. Ruben, got to work in spring. Bryce stayed in high school so he could do track because he throws shot. He's very good shot put thrower, so he needed to complete his year with that. But probably puts him a little bit of step behind, so that's why I've got him just behind it. Definitely, I think you're going to see him as long with a few of those other guys right behind him. But that's what I got right there for the moment. All right, so let's take a look at a splash pick here. I know you're expecting to see Baylor Cup and tied in second string, right? But I'm going to go with Max Wright. And I think I got some good reasons for this. I think, Max has been there for the last 2 years. He's been working on his craft. If you watch him in the drills, he's got good hands. He runs good routes, and his footwork is pretty good. He's an ex-defensive end, so he's physical. And that could serve well in two tight end sets, which I think we're going to see a lot more of this year, especially for blocking purposes. Baylor's been injured quite a bit, and Jimbo's a big trust guy, and not that you can't trust Baylor, but it's just one of those things that it's kind of got to be earned a little bit. Work his way in there. He's got a little bit of an injury as well in this camp so far. Nothing serious, but it's just a little something. Moving on to Caleb Chapman, I don't really see this guy as second string. I see him as first string, but there's only so many positions, and I think he's interchangeable with pretty much anybody in the first string area, depending on what set's being run at the time. Demas, I think, is probably Chapman's backup. They make the most sense body type wise, stretching the field, going up. Their size is very similar, so I think Demas is probably in that backup role for Chapman, actually. Now, Demas has been off the field a little bit, so if I had to go with somebody to knock him off and maybe put him into the third string area, I'd probably go with Yulkeith Brown, who's a freshman, has been coming on really strong. Very solid guy for a freshman, and his work ethic and everything that he's been bringing to the field. Demas is gonna get playing time. I feel so confident about that. But it might be something that we see kind of build as the season goes on a little bit more. But I think we'll see him pretty early, provided everything kind of gets worked out here in the next 2 weeks. Moose Muhammad is somebody that's been waiting his turn and got quite a few reps in the spring game, and so for me, he's a solid lock for second string, and he'll get quite a few reps too. We'll see how many targets he gets on a pretty regular basis. All right, well, let's move on over to the defensive side of things, and this is basically what I think to be our locks on defense. Michael Clemens, strong side defensive end, DeMarvin Leal. Weak side defensive end, Clemens is a fifth-year senior, or a super senior. He's coming back after that extra year. Leal, trying to make a case for first round NFL draft next year. So, lock. Jaden Peavy, another super senior. and I believe that he's trying to increase his draft stock dramatically. So, but a staple in the defense last year, so you're certainly going to see him again. Jalen Jones, 5-star cornerback, played from day one. Miles Jones, one of the best players with the most growth that we've seen over the last couple years. And you all know Leon. This guy's probably the leader of the defense, I would say, at this point, especially locally. And Damani Richardson is somebody that's a formidable safety. And he lays the wood when he gets the chance. You know, Leon gets a lot of credit for that sort of thing too, but Damani is otherworldly a lot of times. Now, looking back up, I skipped McKinley Jackson for a quick second, but you know, he had an off-field issue. It's been about a week ago, 2 weeks ago, and from my experience with charges like that, I'm actually really hopeful that he's going to be back. Now, he's replacing Bobby Brown, so it's a big deal that he gets back because this guy is good. And he's kind of like a Dalen Mack, you know. I mean, he gets off the ball quick and fast, and he clogs up the middle. He's very good. And he was gone for a little bit, but I know he's been back to practice already. He took pictures with the team, of course, and more importantly, like I said, he's been back in practice. So we may see him held out for a little bit. Not sure how long that's going to be, but I expect him to be back. Whatever the issue was, I think it's likely to be lessened so that it's not quite as big a deal. But we'll see how that turns. So linebackers, big deal here is we're replacing Buddy Johnson, right? But Aaron Hansford played significant time last year, and I think he's going to step right in. He's a big body. He'll be able to replace Buddy Johnson, I think, very, very well. And then a couple of the guys I think are going to step up here and is Andre White and Edrin Cooper. Andre White's had a sneaky good fall camp and spring, I believe. Edrin Cooper is somebody that's also made waves with his agility. He's very athletic, he's quick, he's fast, and so he provides a lot of good coverage skills when he's in there. Backing up the defensive ends, I think we're going to see Fidel Diggs and Tyree Johnson in large part, but I would not be surprised to see Elijah Judy in there. He is a big guy and he moves really, really well. But these two guys, maybe along with Jazion Harris, a lot of good quality depth there. I'm really excited about this position in large part since we have such a great first team. That second and third string are just kind of being banked right now. And that's a great position to be in if we're going to really make strides this year. Now, backing up the defensive tackles, one of my favorite players, number 6 on the defense, Darius Jones. You're going to see this guy a lot, in my opinion. Second string, sure. Playing time, a lot. He is an explosive guy. I've been watching him for a couple years. He had an injury, I believe, 2 years ago. He was a little bit limited last year as well. He looks to be strong and healthy. I think this is going to be probably the guy that may be seen as who made the most growth in 1 year. Isaiah Rakes, another guy I'm huge on. He was a 3-star commit when we got him, but he was extremely athletic for a 320, 30-pound guy. He would regularly get the ball and run with it, and so I think we're going to see quite a bit of him as well, backing up either McKinley or Peavy. Definitely a good possibility to see somebody like Dallas Walker as well get significant time here. There's incredible depth at this position, maybe even more so than at that defensive end position, but they are really neck and neck on trying to take the cake for that right now. I mean, we think we have so much depth at defensive end and defensive tackle, but DB is just no slouch itself. Cornerback and safety, backing up Jalen Jones, Leon, Damani Miles. Guy I'm also huge on right now is Tyreek Chappell. Again, he was just a 3-star recruit, but he did not look like it to me. his film shows his coverage skills are just unworldly. Um, Brian George, Antonio Johnson, very high rated recruits that came in and played some last year. You saw Brian get some minutes, made some mistakes early and then grew. Deuce Harmon also coming in, very good cover corner. Next up is the linebackers, and it's a weird spot, right? Because Eric Young, as you see where I've got him projected, I mean, he's probably going to play, some significant minutes, but he's not exactly a linebacker. He's more of a safety. He's a bigger safety and can, maybe be pushed down, but in nickel and dime packages, we're probably going to see him same as like Keldrick Harper, right? And Keldrick's kind of even more of a starter. So I think it just depends on the personnel that we need, the matchup that we've got on when and where we see these guys. But we've got excellent depth in this area as well. Brian George, couldn't be more pleased to have this guy as somebody that we can look to be consistent whenever we need somebody to come in for Andre White, Edgerrin Cooper, and he's on the up and come. Trust me. I think sometime after Saturday, when the second scrimmage is done, we can compare and see. But either way, I'm really excited because we've got to get through this to win those games, and winning those games helps in recruiting, which is what we've been having so much fun with for the last week or two with the commit of Smoke Bowie and Bryce Anderson. So um, let's revisit this in a couple weeks, and we'll do another update and get ready for a Kent State preview.